With box prices still creeping up to the moon, Star Wars Unlimited left fans like you and I with a lot of unanswered questions. And it seems like just in time, Fantasy Flight Games jumped on a live stream with Jim Cartwright, the VP of Strategy, whatever that means in corporate speak, to give us some really cool news. And I love when companies give us a peek behind the curtain like this. And while this news has been out for a little while, I think it's important to break this down, talk about what the individual things may or said mean for Star Wars Unlimited. And there was one sticking point that I'm going to give Fantasy Flight Games actual advice. Don't do this. Just don't do it. Trust me. I've been around for a while. I know what I'm talking about. All right, let's talk about the Star Wars Unlimited reprint and the price of the box. As mentioned in the intro, there has been an announcement about the stock issue when it comes to Star Wars Unlimited. For those who haven't been following along, it's a game that released this year, not too long ago, and already boxes are sold out. Small waves are being allocated. Yeah, we could actually get into how those waves are being allocated, which is super important. And the prices of the cards and the sealed product are creeping towards the moon. And for a game named Star Wars Unlimited, and for a game that's been around for, well, all of 3 seconds, we know the dangers of an extremely diminished stock and extremely high box price. We know what that can cause, and frankly, it's not good. So kudos to Fantasy Flight Games for giving us a peek behind the curtain and kind of addressing some of these things. Now, during this live stream, I'm going to talk about a bunch of points. Actually, I don't often do this, but I made notes to try to make sure I hit everything that I want to break down today, because after being in this industry for the better part of 20 years, some of this I've heard before, I know how it goes, and some of it I haven't, and it's a bit either exciting or concerning. And if you like stuff like that, make sure you hit that sub button as we race to 8,500 subs. And the first major point that jumped out of the video, I think to everyone who caught the content, was the statement that they have printed as much Spark of Rebellion as they did all of Star Wars Destiny in the first year. That's right. So the Spark of Rebellion release to this point has been massive. They have printed as many Spark of Rebellion products as they did all of the first year of Star Wars Destiny. For those who don't remember, Star Wars Destiny was another, let's call it, adventure into the Star Wars universe as a TCG. It's a comparison that a lot of people that don't like Spark of Rebellion or Star Wars Unlimited or have some reservations, it's a comparison that often people will make, and to be fair, there are some similarities. But I do think this game, which released in 2016, is a bit farther from Spark of Rebellion and from Star Wars Unlimited and the first set Spark of Rebellion than we're willing to admit, and I might do a whole video breaking down how these differences are really showing right now. But the point is, there has been a massive demand for this game that we did not necessarily see coming. In fact, the company anticipated that the stock would last them, I believe the statement was 6 months. So I think the stock was supposed to last 6 months. When it was going to dwindle at the end of that 6-month period, they were going to roll out an allocation plan where stores got trickled out boxes here and there to keep their OP programs running, their communities happy until the release of Set 2, which we have some cool spoilers and a lot of information about. I'm excited to get into Set 2. That'll be in a different video, but it's a very exciting time in Star Wars Unlimited. But this stock was burned through much quicker than anticipated, so they kind of had to emergency roll out this allocation plan and didn't really have anything else to do in the downtime between Set 1 and 2 once they were through this allocation plan they made. So they made a statement that I thought was a bit on the fence. They said, I want to talk about, and the phrase was something like, I want to talk about the reprint situation with Spark of Rebellion. And they say it's something that's on their radar that would happen around holiday times. Now, this could be interpreted in multiple ways, and the phrase that they use is, I'm just remembering it now listening to the video, is what a reprint of Spark of Rebellion would look like. That's the exact phrase. And this is where things get interesting to me, because this is where the conversation, in my opinion, takes two paths. And path A, it does seem like during this announcement, they're stating that not only is there very clearly a planned reprint for Spark of Rebellion, it's going to come soon and it's going to hit around the holiday time. And I know that's maybe the boring path to take, but also probably the healthiest for the game. I don't know what happened, where this came from in the world of TCGs, where a game comes out and 5 to 7 minutes ago and the box price has to go up and we have to see this return on investment and there have to be tendies, and that's just not how any of this works when you consider a healthy environment. A comparison I'll make is something that I always compare kind of new games releases to, and a botched release that turned into a massively successful release, and that is the Lorcana the First Chapter release. Now, I was heavily critical of Ravensburger for the initial release of the first chapter, talking about how they vastly underestimated their demand. Box prices shot up so high, and the marketing community was just tainted for some time. Thank God we had things like Pixelborn and amazing content creators and stuff out there to kind of get us through the next wave. But to Ravensburger's credit, they then fixed the problem. They are printing the first chapter and the price has gone high again. I'd like to see them reprint it again because the game came out 5 seconds ago. The same could be said with Star Wars Unlimited. And for those of us collecting the game, yes, I'm an avid collector. I have sealed boxes of Star Wars Unlimited that I like that are just part of my collection. I have sealed boxes that I'm opening for channel members. I am into all of that. It behooves me for the box price to go up, and I don't want to see any of that happen. I want to see a stable market. I want to see them print this thing again to where the boxes are readily available and people can continue to grow in the game and play Star Wars Unlimited. But I am not saying that you need to print as much Star Wars Unlimited as you did the first chapter. That's the thing with IPs, and not to get too sidetracked, but I do believe that Star Wars Unlimited has a massive reach, but not quite that of, all of Disney characters and their IPs. But that statement, the way they talked about the reprints, what a reprint of Spark of Rebellion would look like, right, also opened up the door to this secondary path. And I want to be very clear. I don't think this is the case. It's that they either don't reprint Spark of Rebellion or they reprint it in a different way. For those of us who have been involved in trading card games for some time, or for those of us who might have been involved in other trading card games, know when I say they would do a beta release or an unlimited release, a Spark of Rebellion Unlimited for Star Wars Unlimited, where that would be literally wild from a naming convention standpoint, but where they alter the release slightly to make the first release or initial people who backed the game or bought into the game or whatever might have you feel that those boxes are valued differently or have different things in them than a secondary or tertiary release of the product. And this, in my opinion, in 2024, in the world we live in a game where you're trying to increase your reach as much as possible, you're not a niche game selling to 100 people on TCG Player. No, you are trying to spread the word about your game. That is a massive mistake. This game came out 2 seconds ago. I would love to see consistency in the boxes. I would love to see Star Wars Unlimited have an opportunity to continue to foster a foundation and build this community in these groups and subsects of people playing the game and buying cards and building decks and building collections and putting things in binders and shelves and yada, yada, yada. And when we start to separate that community by having your first alpha release and then what a Spark of Rebellion Unlimited release or beta release could look like, with maybe it's no showcases, maybe there's no hyperspace or hyperspace rares above a rare, or hyperspace cards above a rare or something, whatever it might be, it's just something we need to avoid. And this is where I'm going to give actual advice to Fantasy Flight Games, because we're an 8,500 almost person YouTube channel. Of course, all the major game companies watch this YouTube channel, but I want to see what you think about this. Don't do this. This is not a feasible, plan for games in 2024. Let's take our emotions out of it. Whether we want to think the things we own or have on our shelves or have collected at this point are cool. We want these things to grow. We want these games to be stable and these communities to experience these things, because that is truly how you have value in the long run. Anyone who is collecting Star Wars Unlimited, who is buying sealed box or doing whatever it is you're doing with Star Wars Unlimited, if the game does not continue to foster growth in a nurturing atmosphere where it has a factor of accessibility, there is no chance that anything that you are doing has any substantial value, financial or emotional, in the long term. It's all short term, and if it's all short term, then it's not here for the long run, and that's just not a healthy ecosystem for trading card games. And I truly mean that. I don't think in 2024 that's a viable strategy. So I'm excited to see what is on the horizon. I personally, as I said, I am in the belief of the statement, what a Spark of Rebellion reprint looks like, is that they're just going to reprint the box. It's going to be a normal box. Please, this is actual advice to Fantasy Flight Games. Please hear me out. Now, they did mention that set 2 is going to, follow these new and updated release and printing principles. They said they learned a lot when it comes to what their demand is for set 1, for set 2, and I would caution you again here. I think set 2 for Star Wars Unlimited is going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of hype around the set. There's a lot of cool things that are going to hit our hands, and set 2s for a successful game generally go well. Rise of the Floodborn, for everyone talking bad about it, spiked up crazy in price, has sold, tens of thousands of boxes on TCG Player. You can actually check that info out at Cardboard Finance. It's a website where we scrape all that data and we hold it in a long-term data vault. It would otherwise disappear from the internet. It's supported by channel members here, cardboardfinance.com. It's pretty cool. I'm a big fan. It's from this channel. But things like that show this weird picture of set 2s where, we're not that hype on them, but realistically, they sold tons of boxes and the prices were wildly stable and the cards are a massive hit with their communities. I think we have a lot of opportunity for that to happen here. But this production increase, this idea of like, hey, for set 2, which was stated in this video, we're going to do a massive production increase. They didn't say massive. That's a bit hyperbolic. They said there will be a production increase for set 2. This makes me a bit nervous. We always have to remove ourselves from like, yeah, set 1 of a game is always going to be hype. It always goes probably better than expected. I don't want to say always, but usually for a game that's going to have any kind of run, any kind of burn, any kind of community, set 1 is iconic. It pulls you in. Often during the release of set 2, it makes people want to go back and buy more of set 1 to revisit that time. Set 2s have this wonderful way of digging those who have claws into the game in deeper and really separating those out through, people who may not want to be involved at all. So while I'm excited for set 2, I would caution anybody who's like, oh, set 2's gonna go crazy. Look at the game go. You can't get your hands on set 1, so set 2 comes out, it's gonna be bonkers. I would temper your expectations. I think set 2 is going to be a slow burn. I think set 2 is gonna have an opportunity to grow extremely well in a healthy fashion over time, and much like the rest of Star Wars Unlimited, will probably be driven by the cards that are really fun to set down on a table and play and be collected, by the things that pull at our heartstrings and the nostalgic stories that Star Wars Unlimited really leans into. So this is the major update. I hope Fantasy Flight Games listens to my advice. If you think I just gave bad advice, if you think I just put bad advice out into the universe, I'm open to you letting me know in the comment section below, because listen, I love discourse like this. So if you want to share this video anywhere videos are shared for Star Wars Unlimited, just to get more opinions, get your friends' thoughts, get a community's thoughts on anything that was said here, I would love for that to happen, because not only does it make me happy when I'm scrolling through and I see my video, but it does help the channel reach grow, and that helps us all. So thank you so much for hanging out today. Until next time, you guys know me. My name is Josh, and we will see you around. All right.